The things we do outlast our mortality. The things we do are like monuments that people build to honor heroes after they've died. They're like the pyramids that the Egyptians built to honor the pharaohs, only instead of being made of stone, they're made out of the memories people have of you. R.J. Palico. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Clarence's Corner on Clarence Unfiltered, where we dabble into the lives and ideas of people that changed the world without even knowing that they would or did. In this episode, we're going to dive into the story of the unknown soldiers. They made the ultimate sacrifice, but within that, no one knows who they technically are. Now, we know what they've done, and within that, cemented their life into the halls of history. Now, before I get started, I want you guys to know it is extremely hard to create a fictional story when there's no names, no dates, and nothing to go off of, just ideas of what could have happened. But I'm going to try my best. And for those of you that are new here, I take and create a fictional story to showcase a life of an individual that most definitely changed the world, or individuals. Now, this is 100% based off true story. At least the individuals are. I call this one The Echoes of Silence. Sit back, relax, and let's get into the story. He never blinked. Snow lashed across his uniform, slicing sideways like tiny shards of glass. Rain poured in sheets that turned marble steps into rivers. Summer heat baked the earth and his skin beneath that cloth. But the guard walked on. 21 steps, 21 seconds. Turn, repeat. He was guarding a man he'd never meet. A man no one knew. Behind him stood the tomb of the unknown soldier, silent and imposing. Inside it lay not just one man, but the story of many. A story that begins not in Arlington, but on the blood-soaked fields centuries ago. This is the first forgotten. They say he was young, maybe 16, 20, 21, maybe older. He didn't wear a uniform, just an homespun cloth, maybe a leather belt, and a musket that probably jammed half the time. He believed in something. Freedom, liberty, and an idea that a man could govern himself. He left his farm and joined the Continental Army. His name is gone. The paper it was probably written on crumbled centuries ago. He fought in the Battle of Saratoga, or maybe Brandywine, or maybe on a nameless hill in Virginia. He was hit. And there was no burial, no cross, no mention on records. I'd like to think his mother waited for him. But he never came home. First American unknown soldier. Certainly not the last. The area was thick with cannon smoke at Gettysburg. Cries of men, northern and southern, merged into one sound: agony. A soldier stumbled through the mist, blood soaked his sleeve, but he pressed on. Around him, friends fell like wheat to a scythe. He didn't hate the man shooting at him. He just followed orders. Then came the blast. Thunderous roar. And then silence. His body was never recovered. He was buried in a trench with hundreds of others, Union and Confederate. Their identities were never sorted. Their bones mingled beneath the dirt as earth swallowed them up. And to this day, in cemeteries across America, the headstones read simply, unknown. Fast forward, now it's World War I. A hell without reason. Trenches, gas, rats, boys screaming for mothers who couldn't hear them. In the mud in France, an American private crawled through barbed wire. His gas mask slipped off, his rifle jammed. But he reached the enemy line. He fought with his fists, then with his bayonet, and then with rocks. He was found days later, his body torn, his face gone. The only thing left was his courage. He became the first unknown soldier that entered into Arlington. They chose him from 4 caskets, 4 bodies with no names. A highly decorated World War I veteran picked one at random. That soldier became a symbol of every man who never got to come home. June 6, 1944, D-Day. The gates dropped. Bullets tore the air like angry yellow jackets. A young paratrooper landed far from his drop zone. Disoriented, he ran toward gunfire to find his unit. He saved 2 men before the mortar shell found him. When the Allies finally took the beach, they found his body, but not his name. His tags were gone. Another one was burned in a tank off shores of Normandy. The fire consumed everything. Yet another went down in the Pacific. His plane crashed into the jungle canopy, swallowed whole by the green. Each one died with no witnesses. Each one became a part of the world they were trying to save. Korea, 1950. Frozen valleys, endless snow, bullets that tore through frost-covered uniforms. He was part of the chosen few. Those who faced impossible odds and never flinched. They fought in 30 below zero. Fingers blackened, eyelids froze shut. One soldier was last seen charging into a machine gun nest to protect his platoon. When they returned, he was gone. No one ever found him. His mother wrote letters for years. Is there any news? And there never was. But a soldier from Korea was placed in a tomb at Arlington. He represents that man and hundreds more like him, buried beneath Korean soil with no names. Vietnam. Sweltering heat, monsoon rains, traps that snapped ankles and shredded flesh. A young man, just 19, manned a radio post deep in the jungle. Base was ambushed. He held his position for hours, called in artillery and saved dozens. Then the silence came. They never found his body. Another was killed in a helicopter crash. The fire burned too hot. Another walked into a bush and never came out. The war ended, but for 1,600 Americans, it never did. Many were marked MIA. Some were eventually presumed dead, but their families still set dinner plates for them. Still prayed. Still waited. Now, during this time, I'm going to read a hint of a speech that Ronald Reagan did for one unknown soldier. I will post the link to the full version for you to read in the description below if that is what you choose to do so, and I highly just suggest you do. This is the end of the speech. Quote, Ronald Reagan. The unknown soldier who has returned to us today and whom we lay to rest is symbolic of all our missing sons. and we will present him with the Congressional Medal of Honor, the highest military decoration that we can bestow. About him, we may well wonder, as others have. As a child, did he play on some street in a great American city, or did he work beside his father on a farm out in American heartland? Did he marry? Did he have children? Did he look expectantly to return to his bride? We'll never know the answers to these questions about his life. We do know, though, why he died. Oh, he saw the horrors of war, but bravely faced them, certain his own cause and his own country's cause was a noble one. And he was fighting for human dignity, for free men everywhere. Today we pause to embrace him and all who served us so well in the war, whose end offered no parodies, no flags, and so little thanks. We can be worthy of the values and ideals for which our sons sacrificed, worthy of their courage in the face of fear, and a few of us will ever get to experience, by honoring their commitment and devotion to duty and country. Many veterans of Vietnam still served in the armed forces, work in our offices, on our farms, and in our factories. Most have kept their experiences private, but most have been strengthened by their call to duty. A grateful nation opens their heart today in gratitude for their sacrifice, for their courage, and for their noble service. Let us, if we must, debate the lessons learned at some other time. Today, we simply say with pride, "Thank you, dear son. May God cradle you in his loving arms." We present to you our nation's highest award, the Congressional Medal of Honor, for service above and beyond the call of duty and action with the enemy during Vietnam era. Thank you. End quote. Now, Vietnam veterans didn't get the thanks that they deserved. They came home to people spitting at them all over political jargon, but never forgot. These men gave up their lives for what they thought was the better idea. And when they returned home, they got shit on, which is unacceptable. And anyone who did that should be ashamed of themselves. Now, back to the story. A casket was entered into the tomb of the unknowns. It was from Vietnam, the final soldier. His case was chosen carefully. DNA testing didn't exist yet. He was the last man to be buried there. Something changed. In the 1990s, technology advanced. His family, long suspicious, requested a test. In 1998, he was identified. His name was First Lieutenant Michael Joseph Blassie, a U.S. Air Force pilot shot down over Vietnam in 1972. He was 24 years old. Think about that. 24 years old. And now we have 18 to 24-year-olds bitching. I digress. I'm going to hold my tongue on that. Be better, do better. He was awarded the Silver Star, Purple Heart, and Air Medal. He had a mother, a father, a sister who never stopped searching. And though he once lay among the unknown, he was no longer forgotten. Now, why do we remember them? Why should we remember them? Not for glory, not for victory. Because they remind us what love of a country looks like. Not in words, but in sacrifice. The unknown soldiers didn't choose nameless. It was given to them by war, by fire, and by time. But what they gave us was everything. They legitimately gave their everything so that we could. Today we argue over headlines, gender. We scroll past tragedy. We forget the cost. See American flags burned. And you're degrading them. You're not degrading America, you're degrading them. And you should feel ashamed of yourself. But they fought for those freedoms, for you to burn that American flag. Every freedom we enjoy was built on the backs of men and women. They aren't statuses, they are echoes. And if you listen closely, they're still speaking. Not with words, but by their sacrifice, with their silence. The kind that demands remembrance. The kind that lives forever. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Gandhi. Now, as we went over this story, I hope that you can find it within yourselves to remember the fallen, named or unnamed, that created the world we live in now, the freedoms we have now, the capability to grow, the capability to speak freely. These exist off the people that have given their lives for this to exist. I hope you kick the rest of the day's ass, and I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your evening. Always remember to stay curious, stay humble, and I will see you on the next one.